Welcome to session 5. This is the final session of the mobile micro course on messaging and conversion. We've been tearing down the conversion index and applying it specifically to the mobile environment. And in doing so, we've been talking about new concepts such as implied friction. In this final session, we're going to bring everything together to show you what it looks like when you think through the messaging heuristic as it applies to the mobile context. And let's begin by looking at a control. This is with a major university. They are driving opportunities using this particular mobile form. It has much of what we teach in our classic work already engaged. There's testimonials, there's value points, etc. And it's a high-producing form. Nevertheless, we're going to do something different, something counterintuitive. In fact, if you look, you'll see that despite the success of this particular approach, there's an 81% bounce rate. We also know that users are spending time here, an average of 1.5 minutes. Now, if you work with the discovery triad that we teach in some of our other work, such as in online testing, or if you understand how to leverage the triad with the hypothesis and the 4-part framework, you'll already begin to see here that these two data points, which serve really as behavioral traces, are indications about something happening in the mind. We are trying to cross the gap between what we know and what we need to know, but using the behavioral traces, applying the conversion sequence, we create a treatment. Now, if you are watching this treatment closely, you'll see immediately that it is much longer than the control, which suggests all sorts of potential problems. But in this treatment, we are systematically applying what you've been learning so far. And if you'll look, the net impact of this change is 32%. Indeed, this and the test that connect to it produced an additional $250,000 a month for this organization. So what is it that happened? Why did we lengthen the form? How did we apply what we've been teaching in all of these previous classes? Let's look at that together. You're going to notice that we are now zeroing in on value. We've added additional value, and we've stated in ways that are more credible. So if you'll see the V at the top of the heuristic, using that and asking the question, what should we add, what should we remove, or what should we change to emphasize value, led to a hypothesis about adding this additional value. Now, these are sort of the positive elements that impact value and incentive, impact the value exchange sum in a positive way. What are the negative elements? We're going to see those as we start to counter friction. And you'll see that we've added more content, in particular, to reduce the amount of psychological resistance, to reduce the amount of friction. Now, in many cases, we're under the mistaken impression that by adding text, we increase resistance. But sometimes not enough text creates implied friction, which is even more deadly to the conversion. Now, I'm sharing that with you to see how each of the sessions we've been teaching tie into this particular form. And when I'm done, we're going to live up some additional student pages, and we'll be able to see it sort of in living color. But next, we're going to address anxiety, and you'll see that we have components, testimonials, a video. All of this is designed to reduce anxiety. Now, when you put it all together, it produces a 32% increase. And that's the key. The key is that somehow we have gotten past the screen and into the mind, and we're actually optimizing the sequence of thought. Now, if you've had our content before, you know about this conversion sequence, but seeing it all together and understanding how it changes in the mobile context is very important, and that's been the point of this very short micro course. Now, let's take it a step further. I have in front of me submissions from students. I'm going to click on one right now. It looks like natural testosterone booster. Amazing results. So you're looking at the mobile version as I have it sort of set up in my pad, and you'll see, or my tablet, you'll see that I'm scrolling so that you can get a sense of what it's like in the mobile environment. Now, this is sort of a classic long copy mobile cell, but it follows that Apple-esque version of stacking content upon content. And that might be useful in some contexts, but it gets in the way of a cohesive step-by-step conversation. In the mobile environment, this conversation occurs in the vertical flow of that rectangular screen size. And what we see at the top is a headline, Natural Testosterone Booster, Amazing Results. Now, at that point, you've said something that everybody else in the world says, trying to sell a similar product. In fact, we've used cliched words, which sometimes will still sell, amazing results. And then we have the kind of content that I think should be challenged in a test, going back to friction and psychological resistance. We're using the typical language of, I would say, the hype-driven language of the modern marketer, beginning with this, say hello to natural testosterone boosting power, exclamation point. Now, marketer, you've got to decide what is the personality of the person who they're going to purchase this from. But please understand, they're not buying from a website, they're buying from a person. And this person that is sort of personified by this site is like a carnival barker with exclamation points and the same language you might find on a half a dozen other sites. Testogen contains natural, all cap, ingredients to boost your testosterone easily and safely. Let's test that language. If you submitted this, I'm trying to be helpful, not insulting, but you could probably take that language and paste it on anybody else's product selling something similar, and it would just be as true of them as it is of you from a standpoint of perception. That tells you right away there's something wrong with what you're doing here. Maybe further down the page, you have the information that I need, but right now you've made claims, but you've not enabled me to draw forceful conclusions. And this is because you're telling me what to think instead of giving me data that helps me conclude on my own what I think. If you control the observation, control the data, you control the conclusion. If you control the conclusion, you control the decision. If you control the decision, then you are, in a sense, controlling the action, which in this case is a purchase. So all of that is there with a standard big red Order Now button. And at this point, I haven't digested a single piece of information that would help me ascertain why I should trust your claims any more than everybody else out there screaming in my ear about their miracle. Now, you can go down and it says premium ingredients. Again, think about the word. It's devoid of content. What does premium ingredients mean? I don't know, because it could mean many things to many people, and that is the problem. If the ingredients are premium, then tell me why. And when you can give me a credible answer, you're getting close to what needs to be on this page. And huge multi-buy savings. Who cares about multi-buy savings? I don't even know if it works. And free shipping. That only matters when I want to buy it. And 100% money-back guarantee. That's of some value. But it's coming at the top in this place before I get a stack of boxed pictures, one on top of the other. And all I have is another grand claim. It works! Order now. None of that is driving in me the right conclusion. And everything on this page, in this short, sort of limited environment that mobile gives you, is about guiding me to the right conclusion. Now, I'm going to stop here, but I want you to know that I've scrolled far down this long page, and at this point, I have not yet seen a single sentence that would give me the information I need to start to feel comfortable with this purchase. Value that is not perceived is value that might as well not exist. And the value can't be perceived because whatever this product has, it's buried in a myriad of nonsensical, cliched sales claims. You need to go back and deal with friction and anxiety, and you need to give me value that I understand and that I believe. I hope that helps you. And if you work on this page, send it to us, and we'll give you some comments and try to just help you as friends here at the lab. So let me move on to one more. This is XYZ, the collagen cream that makes you look 75 or 7.5 years younger. I'm not sure. That's a very stylized decimal, and it could be the word 75, which probably isn't what you want me to think. In addition to that, I go straight to add to the cart, and then underneath it, I have some credibility indicators, and I assume that's for people, and this is critical. This whole page top is dependent that there's a large percentage of traffic that has already made the decision to purchase when they get here. If that's the case, this could be right. But if there is a significant group of people who have not made the decision to purchase, then you're hitting me in the thought sequence with the wrong information in the wrong order. I have to understand the value before you force down my throat the cost. And so let's look underneath this. Real women, real results. Now I start to get some stats, and I like the way you've done that. I don't know if there's any sense of what supports those stats, but it at least provides me with some form of credibility indicator. Stop the clock and take back control. Let's stop there for a moment. What does that mean? I assume you're talking about age, but you're forcing me to reach inside and to draw out implications. And remember, I'm probably standing in line, or worse, a lot of people sitting in car or somewhere quickly referencing this, trying to get through the page, and I don't have time to try and make meaning of your subtext. If your message has a subtext, then it's already forcing me to work too hard. Then it says underneath it, delay the signs of aging and visibly restore your skin's natural beauty. Now, I like that. In fact, I think in that paragraph, there's likely a better headline than the one you have leading the paragraph. And then it starts to talk about some of the critical pieces. Once again, this page takes the form that we learned from Apple. I watched the entire internet change based on Apple's success, and we misunderstood what caused the success. It wasn't their web pages that drove their success. It was their innovative product offering. Now we copy Apple pages, and in this case, it's like, let's just keep stacking up one idea on top of the other till one of them works. There's no sequential, clear flow here. You hit me with the wrong items in the wrong order. And so I come in trying to understand, will this work for me? And now I've got to slide up and down the page. And even if I do, let's go to this paragraph I have now, introducing smart collagen management. That sounds interesting. But then I have a paragraph in gray, on gray, so long that I want to know really bad what you're saying to force myself to read it. Now, I hope that you're not hearing this in a negative way. These are opportunities, but this is another example of company logic and not customer logic. Nobody is going to sweat through that paragraph unless you give them a much stronger reason than what you've given them thus far. And right underneath it is another one that's too long. There's no bold font, there's no bold text, and if you wade through those two, there's another set that is even longer. We have to make meaning for people, not wait for them to make meaning on their own. And so we go back to, where is the value clearly communicated? What is the special incentive that adds to that value, that makes it even surer, even safer, even better for me to say yes? When you communicate that value, do I understand it? Do I believe it? Do I want it? And do I conclude that I can't find it just like this anywhere else? And then as I try to absorb your message, are there ways that you're communicating which get in the way of what I'm trying to understand? Is there too much friction? Do I have psychological resistance to what you're saying? And not only that, but what in this concerns me or alarms me or worries me? And have you truly addressed that in a way that overcorrects it in proximity and works in a mobile environment? You know, we developed the heuristic probably 20 years ago, but its essence will still be valid 1,000 years from now. And it was valid 1,000 years ago. And it's valid whether it's social media, whether it's the mobile context, or the latest new thing. The truth is, people just need to understand why they should select you instead of anyone else. And in doing so, you need to communicate clearly and credibly. You need to minimize friction and anxiety and make it easy for me to say yes.